murderers. They're people who killed. I mean, you look at the evidence, they did kill. But I remember the story you're talking about of this guy. He came from somewhere in Eastern.
Yes.
I think it was in Kitui, if I'm not wrong. He's now out. He was released, was pardoned by the president.
Nice.
But I came to realize that there's a moment of insanity when you get in that rage of killing someone. You temporarily, I think, get carried away and become something else, and that is very true. When he said he can't remember how he killed his 7 family members, I agreed with him. And they used to come and see him in prison all the time he was there, and the wife never even married. She didn't remarry until he was released. I can't remember his name, but he's happily somewhere now, trying to raise another family again. Tough for him, but it's life. I mean, people kill for various reasons. But
do you keep in touch with the people that you interviewed?
A few of them, to be honest, a few of them. But jail time is very different. Jail time is very, very different. And when you come out here, you've lost a lot of time and space to do so many things. So by the time, like this one who was released, I think he was jailed when he was 14 for taking part in a robbery in Nakuru, and he was released 35 I think years later. You're coming out and then you're trying to raise a family. So when I went to see him in Nakuru, he had
14 to 48.
Exactly. He had a 6-month-old baby, and finding yourself in that space, you lost entire adulthood life. It's not funny. It's tough for these people.
So 35 years.
Exactly.
35, bro.
35 years. Yes, it's a long time.
Did somebody die in that robbery?
Yes, a lady was. I think they went to rob an Asian lady in Nakuru, and what she did, I think she alimeza some of the jewelry in the process, and they split open her. But Baba Man was a very pragmatic human being, and very, very, very sentimental as well. And I keep saying that if Baba was not a politician, then he should have become a poet and a musician.
Is that so?
That's exactly what he was. So that was Baba for you. But he was also a very good listener, and was very, 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 very patient. So the many years I worked for him, he was not only Raila Odinga, he was a father to us, and we never used to call him Your Excellence, your Prime Minister, or we used to call him Mzee. Yeah, that's what he was to us. He was Mzee. Yeah.
And like you said, he was very polite, chilled.
Very, very polite, very chilled, and very thoughtful as well, and very present as well. Raila Odinga is one guy who you'll go see him in his house with your family, for example, and then after 2 or 3 months he'll ask you how are the kids doing,
and he remembers the kids' names.
Exactly, remembers it by name. And I keep saying that Raila was a man with a memory of an elephant but a heart of a dolphin. Yeah, those are the two extremes of Raila Odinga for me. So he was a great man. I think this country lost a great man. Personally, I lost a very good friend and a confidant. And they expanded Odinga family. Forget the nuclear family. The expanded Odinga family got a very big hit because he was an economic mainstay for many of us across the country. So I feel for those who worked for him. And we mourn, we still mourn. Every time Baba quote unquote lost an election, because as far as we're concerned, Mzee never lost any election in this country. His elections were stolen from him. Every time he lost an election, we'll sit in a room and then start building again. Raila Odinga was a believer in coalition building. He believed that there's safety in numbers, and numbers matter, and bringing together political figures and players. So that's Raila for you. So he built from scratch. So every time we lost, people will abandon us, and then we'll start again. So Mzee will call you and say he's going for funeral somewhere. Can you accompany him? He'll send you a photo of Gidongo and George Kegoro, for example. They're having a meeting somewhere. So you start seeing he's building something. So he used to build blocks and blocks, research, a team of lawyers here, political experts, religious leaders. So we will move from one house to another. But this was not known to the public. We will leave here, go to Nakuru and meet some religious leaders in some house. And it will make sense to you as you move along. We will leave here and meet lawyers in Westlands. And then, so he's moving things. He's thinking of legislation as far as IEBC is concerned. What are the issues that we need to have dealt with IEBC? What are the issues that we need to deal with National Police Service, for example? So he needs letters to be written there. So you will not see it, but in the at the appointed time, you'll start understanding that he's building something, and then now he'll put in place a team.
Yeah.
So Raila was, I think, because of his past political journey, Raila never believed in having one team. Because one team is a fortress, and it's easier for you to attack a fortress. So he used to have many teams running things at the same time, but they had a lot of synergy at the end of the day. So he will bring in someone. So you're doing communication, you bring in someone else to shadow you in communication. You bring a lawyer, he brings another legal expert, so that you keep moving. So we had many satellite offices, not in Nairobi, not in Kampala. We had many offices across in Africa. Yeah. And but Raila was owned by the people. I mean, he was a man. Raila was not Raila Odinga. Raila was owned by the people. So even the campaign was owned by the people. So Raila was just a vehicle for this campaign.
Yeah.
So it was both humbling to be in that, and it's also very. It was chaotic, very chaotic.
I can imagine.
Yeah, very, very chaotic.
Yeah.
So there was a place for chaos in Raila Odinga's campaign. There was place for calmness in Raila Odinga's campaign, and there was a serious place for pushing for what is right for the country in Raila Odinga's campaigns. So it has those three layers. Yeah, it didn't feel like that. But for Raila Odinga was different, and as I said from the start of the onset of this conversation, that Raila was a very pragmatic politician.
Yes,
we had instances where, let's say in 2013, we had Moses Wetangula on our side, as an example. And he leaves us.
Yeah.
And then in 2017, Wetangula shows up again, for example. And then, so Raila will stop everything else to go for this Moses Wetangula.
Yeah.
And we are sitting in a room, seething with so much rage. We are asking ourselves, why should Mzee go for this guy who abandoned us? But Raila was very pragmatic. Yeah. I remember there's a time where in Nakuru, there's a lady politician
who abandoned us.
Yes, there's a lady politician who joined Uhuru Kenyatta in 2017, and she was bashing us and saying Raila is a con man, all those things. And then we go to Nakuru, and then someone was asked to alight from a chopper so that the lady can board the chopper.
Yeah.
But in Mzee's head, he knew, I'm going to Kikuyu next. I need this lady to go to speak to the people in Kikuyu. Okay. But from our inexperienced view about politics,
you hold a grudge.
Yeah, you can't do that to us. This lady was after us in 2017, for example. So that was Raila for you, pragmatic and very focused. So he was abandoned. We have lost elections where, I remember in 2017 when we lost the elections, the following day I was in Karen, and I was the only person in the compound. It was me, Mzee, and Mama Aida in the house. The previous day, you could not even find a place to move. There was no parking. So I sit there, ask Mzee, so what does this mean? He says, we start again. Yeah, we have to.
We forge forward.
Yeah, we start again. So I say, Mzee, I'm confused. I mean, I'm seeing darkness. And Mzee says, no. What are you holding in your hand? I had a feeling this is a Moses moment. I mean, are we having a Bible conversation here where Moses was asked by God, what are you holding in your hand? He said, I'm holding a stick. So I said, Mzee, I'm just holding a fork and a knife. He said, then I'm also holding the same. Choose the knife or the fork. We start digging. I know you're feeling that you're in a dark room with four corners and there's no light. So let's start digging. And I saw the light in 2018 when there was a handshake between him and Uhuru Kenyatta, and he called and said, do you remember we had a conversation about a dark room and a dark man in a dark room with no lights? I said, Mzee, I remember. So it's happening on the steps of Arambe House.
No way.
I swear. That was Raila for you. And again, let me give you an example. In 2017, we have our tallying center somewhere in Westlands. It's midnight. We have rejected elections. We are going home, following them in Karen. And then, but just before we leave, just before we reject the elections, he stands up and says, we tell him now, Mzee, we need to go and address the media. It's midnight. Everyone has left. This election is very funny. You have several levels of elective positions. You have an MCA who has won his seat. He wants to go back home and talk to his constituents. You have a governor who has won his seat. The name of, let's say, James Orengo is in Nairobi at the presidential center. We have lost an election, but he has to go back and celebrate with these people in Siaya. So the team becomes very small. So, but before, let's take for example what happened in 2017. When we realized we have lost it has been taken away from us. Mzee stood up and said, I have not lost this election, the country has lost. So his view about losing an election was very different from our view. In 2022 he said again, democracy has been stopped. So but the loss is heavy, but because he's a general and is leading us to war, he didn't have room for emotions. I've never seen Raila in an emotional state. The only time he's in an emotional state is when Arsenal has scored a goal or a judge has said something in court and he's laughing and he has this slow building laughter. I have never seen any other side of Raila Odinga. That was Raila for you. And so yeah, we never personally experienced my dreams were shattered because I'd relied so much on these elections. It was so bad for us. So he was there comforting us instead of us, to be honest. The core team that worked for Mzee, they were very supportive, and because we knew we have now lost an election, we need to wait for direction from Mzee. But quickly the team will now say, do we go to the Supreme Court? What do we do? Do we assemble a team of lawyers? So that's the time his closest allies, Orengo and Anyang Nyong and Junet Mohammed and Hassan Joho will show up and say, we need a plan. So they'll come up with a plan, sit down with Mzee and say, Mzee, we need to contest this. So what do we need? We need resources, we need lawyers, we need a center to work from. Like in 2017, it was very, very hard for us to do it because we were being hunted down by the state from every corner. We ended up setting up a base in Mzee's house.
In Karen?
Yes, in Karen, so that we can have all this evidence put in place, because they were being hunted down from every corner. So then the core team had a lot of support from Mzee. But as I said, when you've won an election, as a governor, you really have to go back and set up your government.
Yeah.
So they will show up when they're needed. So we have a meeting at KICC. Mzee is coming to address the media there. So they'll show up just because of politics.
Okay.
But the core team never left Mzee, and the core team was always with him.
Okay.
Yeah. But this, so we have to run away from that because my relationship with Mzee is if I had to tell the media something that I had to tell him, Mzee, I'm planning to go and say this, and he'll say it or something, but he's not here. So whatever he told me about the broad-based government, I think it's something between me and him.
Yeah.
But going, if I put it in perspective, in 2017,
right,
and I keep saying that because we are here again in 2022, where there was another handshake between him and the president. Yeah. In 2017, we were opposed to a handshake between him and the president, but he sat us in a room and said, listen, this election has been taken away from us, but we have a country and we need a place to step on so we can have a conversation about this country, and the place to step on is the Kenyan soil. So if we don't have peace in this country, then we cannot have a conversation, and you cannot have a structured conversation with, quote unquote, a duly elected government. Of course, that's what the law says, because when you've won, you've won. You cannot have a conversation like that as a militia group, because the state is treating us as a militia group. So we need to close ranks, sit and have a conversation. And I think that was Mzee's thinking again in 2022. I saw a different Raila Odinga after 2022. He had matured with time, and He was slow.
Is it matured or mellowed?
He had mellowed. My apologies. That's good English. City. He had mellowed with time, and because of this process of having his election stolen from him over and over again, I think he felt it is time now to have a conversation about this country. And again, let me put his community at the center of this conversation. This community has gone through a lot over the years. A lot. Since Jomo's time. This community has borne the brunt of police excesses. I think there's no community that has suffered a heavy political loss so that this country can be where it is, like the Luo community, to be very honest. So I think he got also to a point and said, what can I give back to my people or to the political bases that have supported me over the time, especially Coast. You look at the appointments he suggested to the president, Hassan Joho. Look at the appointments suggested to President Opio and I, James Mbadi, all those things. It gives you an idea where he had reached. And I don't think he was... People were saying Mzee was planning to run in 2027. No, I don't think he was planning to run. I think he was planning to support a side that wanted to take this country to another level. And there was a feeling among Mzee's people, even in this broad-based government, there was a feeling that Mzee atawaruka at some point. I don't think that was going to happen. I think, let me borrow his line, that Mzee had mellowed over time. So I have a feeling he could have gone all the way with President Ruto to the end. That is my feeling. Yeah. But again, having ODM in a strong position, and from my small political instincts, I felt that we were likely to have some sort of coalition in 2027, either in 2022. And this is a governor, Mzee made member of parliament. He made him governor 2 terms, and we were there in 2022 doing our campaigns, and he could not show up. We waited for him for 2-3 hours. I mean, he kept us waiting. We got to Malindi Airport. We could not find our way to, because we thought he will. I mean, you're the host. We thought this guy will make sure that Mzee gets to a place where he's going to rest. So we were left scrambling to get sure Mzee gets somewhere. And those things got into us, but it never got to Mzee. But to answer your question, yes, politicians live for only one reason. You go where your interests are met. And if you don't believe in some ideology, you don't believe in Raila Odinga's views, then you leave. But somehow they come back to him. They always come back to him. He never leaves. So they left because they felt, his political fortunes have dwindled, or there's an opportunity somewhere, or something else. But people have stuck with Mzee. They have grown politically. People have left. Others have gone down badly. I've seen that happen. But they abandoned him when they felt it is time to strike a deal with another political party. Because when these people sit in a room, look at the coalition. Look at the coalition articles deposited with the Register of Political Parties. It gives you an idea what kind of politics we're talking about in this country. That I will support you, but you'll give me the position of, and then you'll give me 6 principal secretaries, you'll give me 2 CSs. And when these people sit in a room and say, but I spent, let's say, 10 billion, I have to recoup back. So we go into politics not to serve the people, but to accrue. And for the record, I have a feeling that between 2013 and 2017, the government that was in power was a transactional government. I mean, people sat and said, let's create a budget, but let's also create a budget that mirrors biashara. And before that, the government was something else. So I think after 2013 up until now, government has been something else. Yeah, how government approaches development, how government approaches offering services to the people is, I have a feeling, and I could be wrong, it's very, very, very different. So yes, people sit in a room and say, we're going to win this election, I'll give you this. But what about the people who voted for you then? What about the people you brought to the table for this conversation? They have not got anything at the end of the day.
Because the citizens are watching.
I don't think they do, to be very honest. But things have changed. I think at the moment, this country is having a serious political consciousness, where people like us who have, we were programmed that you lose an election, it's okay. Now there's government in power, so you don't have to talk about politics. When you start talking about siyasa, they tell you, wait for 2022, wait for 2017. You cannot always be politicking. You can't. Raila cannot always put this country.
And yet they politic themselves
every day. But that has changed after 2022. I don't think there's a time where my generation and this generation that was on the streets last year have come to a point where they're talking about 2027. We're in a permanent campaign mode as a country as we speak. Away from the platforms, these conversations are ongoing on TikTok, on Twitter, on social media. These conversations are ongoing. This is different. But I don't think, for example, government understands this. I don't think, for instance, the United Opposition understands this, that people want a say in how they want to be governed, let's say in 2027. And when you look at the newspapers, when you look at the commentaries, people are saying as long as the president has gotten Gideon on his side, then he has the people. Raila was not that kind of a person. Raila used to ask us, fine, we are moving like this, but where are the people? Where are the people in this? Yeah, we tried this thing with the BBI when it was handed over to us by Uhuru Kenyatta. This thing was not flying. It wasn't. We went, spoke to people, and then one day I sat with him. I said, this BBI thing it's not flying. Then he said, yes. When you talk to the people and they're not amused. I mean, so he tried to break it down for them, what BBI is going to do for the people. People could not buy it. So then I said, Mzee, allow me to ask you what you always ask us. Where are the people in this? Where are the people? Because Raila Odinga was this man who believed, I'll come with the people to the table to negotiate.
Yeah.
But Kenyan politics has changed. We go negotiate first, we go look for the people. And I will tell them, this is what we have gotten for you. But I have a feeling, and I could be wrong again, that this country has morphed into something else, into a time bomb. And if we're not careful, then we all have to sit on a table in 2027. Yeah. As Gen Zs, as millennials, as a political class. They rejected the incoming, the incumbent, the outgoing. This country must have a conversation with itself, because I don't think we're going to do things the same way and expect different results. I don't think it's going to happen like that. Yeah. We have people voted for this regime who feel it has worked and who feel it has not worked. That's one demographic. We have this generation, this Gen Z generation that showed up from nowhere, but it's now here with us.
It came from
it came from nowhere, but it's a wild storm now.
These guys were just here.
Yeah, they were just here, but we never listened to them. They were in the house. We never listened to them as parents. Yeah, but they are now here. People keep downplaying and underrating this generation of Gen Z. They also have they must also have a conversation with them. And then there is the Raila Odinga constituency, which has no leader now. As much as, to be honest, as much as the acting party leader will tell you ODM is intact, as much as Gladys Wanga will tell you ODM is not going anywhere, no. There are forces in ODM. There are people who have different ideas about a party. People who are running for office now who are popular, but have never gotten a chance to run on an ODM ticket because of many other reasons. Maybe they were not the first ones on the table when decisions were being made, or people are waiting for Raila Odinga to hold their hands. I know them; they're here, they're waiting for him to come and endorse them for their first term or their second term. That is over. And then you have a nation that government feels it has done what it was supposed to do. It has delivered. I think the president was saying he has done 8 out of the 10 things he had promised for the Kenyan people.
Which president?
President Ruto. But there are people who feel he has not done it. Okay, so then that's a conversation we must have. But what I think will happen in 2027, because we are a democracy, we will have an election.
Yeah.
We will have an election, because if we cannot have an election, then we cannot have a country. But we are going to have a coalition government of sorts, a compromise government.
Okay.
Post 2027.
Or are you saying whoever wins it
Yes.
We'll have a
We'll have to
conversation
have
with the other side.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Thank you for putting it clear. I didn't want to be grim about it. Whoever wins the election will, because this country will be divided into half. Whoever wins that election, or 3/4, one will take a quarter and then 3/4 will be taken by another.
Half ndio
half hapana, half ni time ya Raila, half tulikuwa tunashare katikati.
Yes.
But hii yenye inakuja hii 3/4 zitaenda na mtu mmoja, and then hiyo quarter ingine people must have a conversation, where are you going to feed these people, because I don't see us as a country running an election that can stand the test of times. Where the country is at the moment, I mean, if this shoe is pinching you, then you must have a conversation, because you put government in place for it to offer you some services, because you pay taxes to government and you expect things in return. No, because a generation like ours is still tribally inclined, to be very honest. But will it play a very big role? I think so, yes. But through leaders, through emerging new leaders, we are likely to have that conversation. Because if people from Western, if, let's say, for example, hypothetically, William Ruto is running for president, and then because he wants the Luo constituency, he said, let me have Gladys Wanga as my running mate. And Luyas will say no. We supported Raila Odinga over the years.
it's time.
Yeah,
it's about
it's time we also support our own, or we have our own as number 2, or we don't want to play number 2 again. You have Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka on this other side, who has been with Raila Odinga for a very long time. His community will say, we have supported the Luo community, not Raila. We have supported, now that Raila is out of the picture, we have supported the Luo community. It's your turn to also support us. So then now we will default again, go back to our tribal cocoons. But it depends how we handle a few things as we go into elections in 2027. If the government does not handle the process of electioneering properly, then those tribal things might take a back seat, and then prominently we'll start having a serious conversation about where are we as voters.
Okay.
Can my vote really matter? And again, sometimes, governments are set up in a way that they subdue you so much to a point you feel, even if I voted, nothing will happen. But I have a feeling this time has also realized my vote might matter. So you took advantage of me. I'll teach you a lesson in 2027. The border guy the same. Because I think successive governments avoided one thing: reminding the poor that they have power. This regime did the opposite. Reminded the poor that they are powerful than the rich. Now with their rugged trousers and with their helmets za kuendesha pikipiki, they want to be in the same room with you. Hapo mali
they're not going to let go of that power.
No, they're not going to let go of that power. Wanataka waingie hiyo status uliwaambia mtaingia na wao.
Hapo ndipo
they want to get there with you in 2027. So they have realized, kumbe we actually put in place a president who believed in us. So we want to have a conversation with you again as president in 2027.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that is where we're heading as a country. And that's why I say there's some serious political conscience in this country that I've never seen before. I have never seen a country sit and go through the budget making process. It has never happened. What we used to do kitambo, we sit and we wait, tunasikia budget imesomwa leo, bei ya sigara imeenda chini, bei ya pombe imepanda, bei ya nini, and that's it, and we move on. I sit there with my parents, naona sigara imepanda, naona. But we are here rejecting a finance bill. We have never gotten to that level where you have a group of people breaking down what a finance bill means for a country. That political consciousness is here with us. And that's a conversation we must have. And I hope the political class, the ruling class and the political class, must sit and understand that that's where we are as a nation. As espoused by previous regimes, where after every election cycle, the community that has fought so hard for an election, cumulatively, every community fights for a seat on the table. If I see my tribesman in a coalition, then I feel I'm represented. So after the elections, I mean, the last 15 years that I've been alive, the only people who are left fighting for this thing after it's done is the Luo community. And then we evoke this thing called ethnic nationalism. We start deploying police officers to Nyanza. We call press conferences. We say we have found people with machetes in Kibera. Yeah, so it is created like that to create this. And it has been done. And when I hear people talk about, oh, we feel what Gen Zs are going through, oh, this what, it's rubbish, to be honest, for lack of a better word. Because these people have benefited from this ethnic nationalism for a very long time. We are here now. They're out of government. They won't take us back there. So, and again, that might be their Waterloo, to be honest, if we go forward, because this community that has suffered over the time, now they're in government, they will say, we'd rather cast our lot with the government in power, because if we are out, then we will suffer again ethnically going forward, because we come from this ethnic community. And that conversation I have a feeling it will come to an end at some point, but not now. It will play a very big role. Yeah. Because people are saying, oh, as a community we have 6 million votes. Unatembea nazo kwa mfuko, you keep telling us that. Another one says, as Kambas we have 1.8 million votes. Tunakuja nayo. Kwani those voters wao hawana akili yao, they don't know where they want to take their votes. People cannot just sit in a room and say, sisi kama community we have 6 million votes. So the reason why we have this government is because with your 6 million votes, you made sure this government is in power. Watch wamalize bas. Let them run their term uninterrupted. Enda kwa watu. Get your chance. But don't play with us. That funny game. That tuko na 6 million votes, tuko na 2 million votes, tuko na 2.5 million votes. Hapana. Hapana bana. Wewe ulituletea jamaa, tuko naye hapa.
Tulia sasa.
Tulia mpaka tumalize naye. But I'm not saying I'm supporting the president today.